We had an all-call update last week alerting you all of the big beautiful bill and the pass-through entity tax exemption that was in there was protecting you from the SALT cap, which capped how much of your state and local taxes that you could write out of your entity. That was a big deal. Well, the bill passed I don't know, maybe 12 hours after we ran the story. They did increase the SALT cap from 10,000 to 40,000, which should move the needle for most states. I think it still could be a concern for very expensive states like California, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Illinois, where we know the tax liabilities are much higher. So 40,000 may not still be enough, but we'll be interested to see. It passed the House, so now it's moving on to the Senate. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into that bill because it's super nuanced. And obviously, if it's a big, beautiful bill, there's a lot of pages as they love to throw a lot of things into these packages. So let's talk about a few things that will impact dentists and dental students that we need to be paying attention to. The first was the Student Success and Taxpayer Savings Plan. That introduced significant changes to the federal student loan program, which will impact medical and dental students. If enacted, that bill would eliminate the Grad Plus loan program. Now, this program would restrict access to federal loans for graduate and professional students beginning in 2026 to 27 academic year, and for current students starting in 29 to 2030. This is kind of a big deal because it allows medical and dental students to secure federal loans for tuition and living expenses. This bill would impose a borrowing cap of $150,000 on federal loans for professional educational programs and exclude medical and dental residency from the definition of qualifying jobs under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Now, I myself benefited from that very definition because I did my residency program as a paid job with the Veterans Hospital, and that would no longer qualify. This could be a pretty big financial impact. I'm sort of torn a little bit on this particular part of the bill. Number one, because part of me wants to support this because part of me thinks, well, if we restrict the ability to access money, then maybe, just maybe, we would actually see dental schools reset the tuition liabilities back to some normalized ratio to these dental students, something that is more commensurate with their income potential. These $500,000, $750,000 student loan debts to go to dental school might be slightly out of bounds. Yeah, I said it. So I am a little bit, I don't know, playing devil's advocate, I guess, to say I would hate to see these programs go because I think that it's a real opportunity for dental students and medical students to be able to continue to further their education, take the loans out that they need to be able to provide care back to their communities. But at the same time, if there's not a blank check of forgiveness sitting at the other end of this docket, maybe, just maybe, dental schools will be forced to look at how they're structuring their programs and what the cost of those programs will be. And if the students simply cannot get funded to attend, then for the first time, we may actually see dental student loan requirements go down. Maybe that's just me being positive in a world of lemons. I don't know. But maybe this is the first movement that will be required in order. It'll either be demand and the lack of people wanting to go to dental school because it's frankly too expensive to go, or it will be they cannot get funded. They cannot take these $500,000, $750,000 loans out by the federal government in order to attend dental school. I don't know. I'm torn. I can see both sides of this, but I think it's an interesting debate. In addition, we're seeing a lot of activity around fluoride. I don't think that's going to go away. I think we're going to continue to see that for a while yet. On May 22nd of this year, MAHA released its first preliminary report. It targeted the 4 pillars it believes to be responsible for an unhealthy American population: poor diet and ultra-processed foods, environmental chemicals, lack of physical activity and chronic stress, and over-medicalization. Fluoride was also mentioned along with microplastics and PFASs, those long-term plastic chemicals, as also chemicals that may be impacting children's health. So who's to say where this is going? We do see activity on fluoride supplementation. Those medications are likely to be pulled from the shelves, where they will not be available to prescribers any longer in unfluoridated communities, which is also changing because we're going to start to see an uptick in those unfluoridated communities. Many municipalities now have it on the docket for discussion. Florida and Utah are leading the way from a state mandate, and they are allowing the removal of fluoride from their water system. And with that, that's the news.
Hey, folks. I'd like to share with you my news segment tonight. It's not very beneficial, but a couple of things that I'd like to say is, first of all, Dentists in the Know had their first webinar last week with Dr. Joy Piscosin. It was a fantastic webinar. If you didn't see it, I will tell you that I ran out today and I bought 2 different types of fluoride for my practice. So how exciting is that? But more importantly, this is actually the news that I was going to share. We have a friend within the industry, Dr. D'Angelo Webster, who runs the group Practice Biopsy. And so Dr. Webster came up with a plan that he was going to offer one ASDA student a year a scholarship to buy a practice or start a practice upon graduation. He was going to do it for 0% compensation, no compensation whatsoever to his platform in benefiting practices or benefiting himself. However, the letter that he got back from ASDA stated, "We want to thank you for your patience in bringing this opportunity to our attention. I met with the executive committee regarding your scholarship offer to an ASDA student. Unfortunately, at this time, your collaboration does not align with our current goals and priorities. Therefore, we are not able to fulfill the request at this time. We wish you the best with the program." I read that before we went on air tonight, and I hate to say this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It really pissed me off. Because one of the things that Dr. Webster brings up, and I won't mention them by name, but there is a very large DSO and a very large insurance company that was mentioned that is allowed to offer lunch and learns and provide money for the students through ASDA. Yet the scholarship of a very willing individual to help somebody upon graduation start practices is declined. I'm sorry, folks. What's wrong with dentistry? That's wrong with dentistry. That's a big problem that we have. Somebody's trying to, out of the goodness of their heart, help somebody start their career in dentistry that has been involved with organized dentistry from an early age, and they're declined. That's a problem.
That's nuts.
And that's my news.